many BNIites out here.
Yeah.
So they only understand good morning. So good morning again.
Good morning.
Well, today is a very, very, very special day. As you know, it's our first anniversary. Time to celebrate. And what a way to celebrate. So, you know Tete Suvees.
Wait, Suhani.
Yes, sorry.
I just need to give you guys a small disclaimer that this is not a stand-up comedy show. I mean, you have seen cameras over here, you may be thinking that it's going to be some stand-up special, but it's not that it is. In fact, today is a very special day. We are going to talk to Mr. Khatri and his journey backwards, right from the comedy house to corporate house.
Okay.
Am I right?
Thank you for reminding us.
Please.
So, it so happens, I know a man named Atul Khatri, who at the age of 43 was a little confused as what else to do, be a DJ or a bartender too. Then he got consent from his one and only wife to be only a stand-up comedian. Welcome, Atul Khatri. I hope that was good enough or bad enough. Okay. Yeah. So if Atul Khatri sits here, can all of you all see him?
Yes.
Yes, maybe. Yes, no.
Yes.
Okay, so here we start. So thank you very much, first of all, for taking out time and coming here. Yes.
Thank you.
And coming here, it's really a pleasure to have you. Aren't we happy to have Atul Khatri here?
Thank you for having me here. Even I've actually attended one of those BNI meetings at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
And I used to always wonder where they get the energy from. Because I'm like just waking up and people are just saying good morning, good morning.
So how many BNIites out here? Can you raise your hands? Yeah, and there.
So is this a natural progression from BNI you get to Suvees Power?
It's just the love they have, and it's very sweet of them that they've all come today. So we are ready to start. Okay. So Atul Khatri, done more than 400 shows, won various numerous accolades, awards, and lot more. And now he is also on Netflix. So this number 43 is very, very lucky for you, Atul, because at 43 you became a stand-up comedian.
I thought going into comedy at 43.
Yeah, and there are 43 comedians on the Netflix show, and you're one of them.
I know it is.
So that's brilliant.
Thank you.
So my first thing which I would really like to ask you is, as a child, in your childhood days, your college days, did you ever feel that this comedy is a part of you, being humorous is a part of you, or you want to do something in that aspect?
Actually, when I look back, I always thought that I used to always enjoy watching comedy films more.
Right.
Then this Comedy Goa was one of my all-time favorites.
Mine too.
Mendonsa was my all-time
Yes.
favorite. So I was given the choice. A friend used to say, "Do you want to go and watch a comedy play?" I stay in Jew, so we had Prithvi Theatre very close to my house.
Right.
So when I want to see a comedy play or a CSP, I would usually go for the comedy part of it.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
And I was never a stage guy in college or school.
Okay.
There are a lot of people who are very enthused about going for debates and educations,
Yeah.
and usually
Drama.
I was never that guy.
Okay.
So I was the guy who would just introduce the chief guest and run away, the studious guy. But I had the little funny streak. So amongst my close friends, I was always, joking around, fooling, playing pranks. So all that, when I look back, was happening. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure in our audience, we have got many aspiring artists, comedians, and who want to live their passion and who want to do something. So here we have an inspiration right here in front of us, who started his being a stand-up comedy at the age of 43. So what is your advice to them?
Suggestion,
So I'll
tell you what used to, actually at the age of 43, I was it's typically the midlife crisis that hits you, and you realize that now it's all downhill from now. So one thing which is very clear, I didn't want to, sometime when I was old, to sit and think back that I wish I could have done this, I wish I could have done that. That really actually bothered me at 43. I don't know what kicked in. And I said, listen, I don't want to, one day like when I'm 55, 60, then say, oh, I should have done this. But it's too late, to sort of do many of the things which you can do when you're slightly more younger.
True.
So that used to always bother me.
Right.
And I think that was the fire in me that I said I should do something different.
Right.
And it's like this year, like when I was 43 and 44, that period when I thought I have to do something different, at least try. If it doesn't work, it's okay.
Right.
But we have to try for sure. Otherwise, if you don't try, then it's really it's your own.
You have to give it a go.
It's your own sort of crutch that you have or your own thing which you never sort of exploited.
Right.
So I always tell people that obviously there's no age. You can do whatever you want, wherever you want, whatever age, and still pursue it. And for me also, because I was actually a CEO of an IT company for close to 25, 26 years. A very boring, mundane life. The job was not boring because computer line as such is very exciting. You have a new Intel processor coming out every 6 months. There's a new Cisco technology coming out. So it's very exciting in terms of, also running around for your payments, which all businessmen do. So that has kept you always on toes. But still, I wanted to explore other part of my life also, And I thought that was really the right time to sort of just do it. I never thought of it getting into profession. It was just started as, let me do something as a hobby. But then it became, I started enjoying it, and then it took off from here.
That's something which even I completely believe in, and I always say that one must live their passion.
Absolutely.
Because there's that one time, that one chance you have, and you must take it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so tell us something about your childhood days with school and college. What did you study? And you were into computers.
Yeah.
So is that your family business or?
No, first of all, we are Sindhi, so we're a very Sindhi family, business family, and my dad was in the finance business. We studied in Bandra, in St. Teresa's Boys High School. We stayed in Khar and did my schooling there. Then I went for my college. Junior college was in Jain College.
Oh, okay.
Not because of Sindhi quota, because I was.
I like the clarification.
I got 87% in SSC yesterday.
Woo!
Nothing bad. You can't slap at 87%.
No, 87
Half
then.
the children have got 99%.
No, but 87 then was really good.
No, it was still okay. To be honest with you. Then I did from Jain College, I went to engineering college at Thadamal Shani College Engineering. Again on merit, not on Sindhi quota. But that's also got the KC College board. So I did my engineering there. Then soon after engineering, my brother actually had started a computer company, Tete Computers. And I worked for 1 year after doing my college. I worked in a company in Nariman Point called Business.The. They used to sell Shiva computers and HCL computers. So even though I did my course in engineering, which was typically a software course, I was more tuned towards sales and service and networking, and that really excited me rather than sitting and coding in C++ or Java or one of the languages. So I joined the company in 1990. I got out of engineering in 89. I joined the company in 1990. And ever since that, sort of, I grew within the company. And because of the family business, obviously I had to, in a way, run it in some part of it. So my brother used to handle the software part. I used to handle the networking and the hardware part of it. And which I did for close to like 25, 26 years.
Wow.
And we were doing very well. We were a small company, a niche company. Somewhere down the road, I realized in India, either you have to be too big, you have to be a Wipro, or you have to be a boutique player. So if you're somewhere in between, you would have got killed by both.
True.
Either from top or from the bottom. So we try to play the boutique player kind of thing where 40, 50 people, good set of customers, growing every year, making good money. And so it was not really that I was not doing well in the computer business that I started doing comedy. This, as I said, it started as a hobby.
Yes.
And and that's how that's my life, and really enjoyed it. Somewhere I'm married. I've got 2 daughters. Right now, my one daughter is 25, second daughter is 22, and my elder daughter is she's doing Mishti Khatri. She's actually she's a fitness instructor, and she's doing a master's in sports science and nutrition right now in the University of Huddersfield, which is close to Manchester. And my younger daughter is doing MA in clinical science. And my wife also actually is a hairstylist. She runs a salon in Juhu.
Okay.
And of last 2 years she's got heavily into sourdough baking,
Yes.
bread baking, which is apparently very therapeutic. So making sourdough is like every time making a new Mercedes car. That's what she says, because it can go here or there. Yeah.
So you have a 25-year-old. What age did you get married, Atul?
I got married at the age of, I was 83 when I got married. I was 25 years old.
Okay.
I was 25 years old. Back then it was okay.
Yeah.
Nowadays they will be 25 years old.
So it was an arranged
It
marriage?
was a love marriage. My
Okay.
wife is a Punjabi, I'm Sindhi.
Okay. And how did you all meet?
We met through a common friend. She was at St. Xavier's College. I was in engineering college that time. Through some common friend's house, and from there sort of it started.
Okay.
And we were neighbors in June. Like not really neighbors, but we stayed close to each other.
Okay, okay, that's brilliant. So I'm sure all of you all have seen a whole lot of the YouTube videos of Atul Khatri. Am I right? Yes. So today I'm going to tell you my personal favorite, which I have heard it over and over again, and I can't get over it. One is the Sindhi bushy eyebrows. Just can't get over that. And the second one is, he actually takes his daughters when they have to spend the night at their friend's house. So he has an actual act on that, which is very, very amazing. So this is what I really want to ask you. They always say a comedian is a good comedian if he can make fun of himself, okay? But I have one thing I have really noticed. It's not only you, but you also talk about your wife and especially your daughters. So, I mean, how is it for them? Do they take your jibes in their?
Sometimes it's like actually it's a thin line you have to play.
Okay.
Like I remember one time my elder daughter had a boyfriend, and it was a true story. Yeah, I came home from a show, and both my daughters and wife were crying. So I said, "Why are you crying?" He's saying, "Apparently my elder daughter had fought with the boyfriend."
Okay.
And true story, at that time I was sharing that boyfriend's Netflix password. So my first botheration was, "Holy shit, my Netflix password is And I told that over there. When three of them were crying, I said, "Listen, shit, what will happen to my Netflix password?" My wife said, "You only told them about a Netflix password, but you go and get it for 500 rupees per month if you want." And so it was. So that was a very funny moment. So that next day I said, "Listen, daughters, like I told my daughter, can I please use this joke on stage?" She's saying, "Are you mad? I just broke yesterday." So then after she had broken up for 6-7 months, then one day I said, "Please, can I use it?" She said, "Yeah, use it, so I'm not using it on stage." But my wife also and daughters are very cool about it. They say, as long as you get the money home, do what you want. And I think it's very important for people to laugh at themselves. So I think the trick which most stand-up comedians do when you go to watch them on stage, most of them usually they start with the self-deprecating humor. So if you're fat, you discuss about fat. If you're short, you say you're short. If you're dark, you talk about being dark or whatever. You just make jokes on yourself. Because when you make jokes on yourself and then you start making jokes on others, people say, "Yaar, usne to khud ke upar to kar hi liya." Like, no, why should we get upset? So I think that's a very common trope. A lot of comedians around the world use. Either they make fun of their name or their physical looks or what they are, things like that. Yeah.
So I'm sure with the wifey it would be a little different. You would be asking for permission first, and then if she would be saying the tick off, and then you would say yes, okay. I
think she's pretty cool about it.
Okay.
Yeah, she's cool about it. But I run. So usually what we do is when we go and perform at a comedy club, if you come to watch us perform, the jokes what we do on stage are like well tested, tried for a period of time. Because when you pay $1,000, $1,500 to come and watch any comedian, we better be funny. We cannot be coming there and trying jokes. So what usually most comedians do is they try their jokes somewhere. So usually there are comedy clubs or comedy whenever happens, it's called open mic night or a new comedy material night. So you go there, you try a material, you see how it works. Because sometimes it will be very funny in your head, but may not be funny
for the others.
So usually I make both my daughters and wife, or whenever they're at home, I run my jokes through them. And usually it happens when my wife says this joke is horrible. That means it will do very well on stage. Always. It's a rule.
So, Atul, tell us where your content is concerned. It's only you have a team of people writing it for you, or it's just a one-man show?
So how comedy works, stand-up comedy usually is all comedians worldwide write their own jokes. Because jokes come from personal incidents, Most of the humor what you see any comedian doing, you watch my humor, any comedian, it's a lot of it is from what they have gone through personally.
Right.
Obviously, then you use some creative liberty and expand it, create some jokes about it. So a lot of it comes from your own thing, and that's it. That is what is will always be with you. So if I, as a 52-year-old man, go and talk about issues which I have with my teenage children, first of all, no other comedian can take those jokes or steal those jokes because he also has to be 52 years old and things like that. Lot of questions are, where do you get your jokes from? Where do you get your material from? We are continuously looking around for jokes. We could be continuously looking around. I tell people, you open Times of India every day, we'll get 4 hours of material. Generally, our country is so vibrant. You have so many cultures, you have communities, you have Bollywood, you have cricket. Then best, you have politicians. You don't have to do half the job; they are only making the jokes. So you have got so much material that you can just, for example, if you go to a place like Singapore, which is a very flat country, it's all controlled by the state. They're like, one robbery will take place, it'll be on the front page of Straight Times, and you laugh at that. Like, one robbery, when they caught the robber, also they have the robber's photo, and he's probably stolen somebody's iPhone, and he's on the cover of Straight Times,
Right.
But in India, there's so much going around that you just look around, you have material everywhere.
With our population and our country being so massive and large.
Absolutely. We're very lucky to be starting doing comedy in India.
Okay, so tell me, I always wondered, Atul, I've read it even on the net and I've read it somewhere else also. And this I'm actually going to read. Atul Khatri, the Simi Garewal of Indian comedy. So I really need to understand why. Can you please say that?
Somebody had made this comment, but I think probably it's because I'm old. And I'm not aging. That's what semi-garage stands for. But I don't wear white. That's semi-garage.
The grey hair, the salt and pepper. And of course, Simi Garewal's relationship with the Kapoors, has been. So is that one of the reasons? Okay.
Neither was the cons.
So it was really, really funny because when I picked this up and I said, why is Atul Khatri called this? And there's another thing. I mean, we see, I think it was really brilliant when stand-up comedy started. So we have to actually give a big round of applause to Atul Khatri because he's one of the pioneers of stand-up comedy in our city. Okay. And I think it was a very good, really, really an amazing entertainment, for people to go. Like normally others, what you would do, go for a movie or go out or go partying, or here you had something else. And there's nothing more therapeutic than laughing, I think. When you're happy and you're laughing, I think that's brilliant.
Can I ask you, how many of you watch stand-up comedy live? Oh, that's a good. That's a good. But this you see, actually half the room has never watched stand-up comedy live. You maybe watched it on YouTube, you watched it on Netflix or Amazon,
Yeah.
So that's also a thing because it's a new art form.
Yes.
It is yet to form, but now it is. I can tell you very confidently that if you go for a good comedy night, if you go for a Bollywood movie or a Hollywood movie, it could be a hit and miss, But a good comedy show you will really, really enjoy.
Yeah.
Plus, obviously, laughing improves your blood circulation.
Very good for health.
Improving your health. Yeah, and so I think it's important for everybody to watch comedy live because that's an art form which requires a support. Yeah.
Super. So, I don't know, most of you all in the room would know I am a Gujarati and my husband's a Catholic. So, since I'm a Gujarati, I'm going to ask you about this. He has an entire act on Baporiu. So, I need you to tell the audience what is Baporiu.
Baporiu, the Gujarati is already laughing. Baporiu means afternoon sex.
It is right.
Because Baporiu is a term Gujarati used for
afternoon. Yeah.
So Baporiu is an afternoon sex, and that was actually, I researched it, you know about it. I hope your husband knows it. But I think back in the day when you have the galla down or your shop down and your house on top.
Yeah.
So a lot of the guys used to, after the afternoon it's very hot in Gujarat, so they used to go up to their house obviously for afternoon sex.
Yeah.
There's also a word for morning sex in Gujarati. It's called sex.
So I was very taken up by this, because I love to watch stand-up comedy, but sometimes you don't get time, especially when you're traveling. So I always watch my YouTube. And when I saw this word "baporu," I must have laughed so hard, and I was in the car, and my poor driver didn't know what had happened to me. He thought I literally lost it because I was laughing like, ha ha ha, that really that much. And then listening to the whole episode, I laughed even more. So I think
actually live in Juhu,
yeah.
so I'm surrounded by Gujarati. All my best friends are Gujarati.
Yes.
Even though being Sindhis, I think twice a week we have Guju food at our house.
Oh wow!
I'm surrounded by Gujus. All over Bombay will realize that actually the street language of Bombay is Gujarati. It's not Maharashtrian, it's not Marathi, or it's not any other language. It's actually Gujarati.
Yeah.
Because thanks to the stock exchange, everybody sort of drives the.
So you like all the Guju food, fafda,
like
jalebi,
everything.
gatia, katti methi dal,
everything.
all of them. Wow, super. Oh, well, so I had always this query in my head, and if you remember the conversation, probably you would because you remember Radio Club. So yes, before I start babbling to myself, the reason why I'm saying is Atul has performed for a very, very special occasion for us, where it was my dear darling husband's birthday, a surprise party, which only the wife gives, the husbands don't give. And we had got a great man, Atul Khatri, to perform. And today I'm meeting him after so many years, but he remembered the venue and I was totally touched. So I always feel that why do stand-up comedians need to use so much of foul language? I mean, that sometimes puts you off. Like we see so many of these young comedians, stand-up when you go for the stand-up comedy show, because there are always 3 or 4 of them, for that evening. And if I'm going to use some bad language, so please pardon me, edit it, Mr. Videographer. I mean, without fuck, their sentences don't complete. I mean, why is it that it's so required to use bad language? Does it motivate them or what is it?
It's not really required.
Right.
It's not really required. I'll tell you what, initially when the comedy started in India, 7 years back, 8 years back, people used to the audience used to just get amazed. Oh my God, he said the F word, or he said DC or EC or MC on stage. They should just that used to be the thrill.
Right.
But now that is no longer the case because earlier comedians used to also use it as a punchline. So you don't get laughter, you just say the F word or you see decent crowd used to start laughing.
Yeah.
But nowadays that's gone because people are consuming a lot of more comedy thanks to WhatsApp or whatever, wherever the forms you're seeing. So now you have to have a proper joke. Nobody will henceforth laugh at using a foul language on stage.
True.
Having said that, I personally believe, that's my thing, comedians when they go on stage, they talk in a very friendly manner in which they would do also with friends around. So if it's a young comedian, it's not that he's saying the F word just to create some sensation there or to create a gasp over there or to use it as a punch. That comedian off stage also will be talking like this to his friends, which a lot of youngsters talk that way, So if they're talking to your friends, like, sorry to say, I meet my best friends, I just say, hi, Chutia, kaise ho? You are the oldest friend. I don't, I'm sorry to say the word, but I'm just saying that it's okay because that's how you talk to your friends. And that's how when you come up on stage, ideally you're supposed to be very honest to yourself, you have your true voice. Unless a guy is just throwing bad words for the heck of it, which the audience doesn't laugh, and then slowly stop doing that. So it's no longer really an excitement or a wonder or a punch or things which they do. So I don't think really it's maybe it's a junior comedian you have seen who's using it unnecessarily too because he's feeling to use it as a crutch. Normally you don't use it.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. You do. I've seen that you do a variety of genres where your comedy is concerned. But there have been, of late, especially with the situation now, a lot of comedians have stopped cracking jokes on politicians because they have got arrested or they've got into trouble. So, do you do jokes on politicians? And if you do it, have you ever had a bad experience?
If you follow me on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter, I'm every day making 4 tweets against the establishment. So let me tell you, most comedians are not against a particular political party; they are against the establishment for not doing their job. Right? If Modi ji started Search Bharat, and Search Bharat was an amazing initiative because first time a prime minister was coming up on National Forum and saying, let's just keep India clean. If that is there, if it really happens, we are all for it, because all of us want it. 2 days back, Aditya Thackeray says, I want to keep Mumbai 24/7. It's a good initiative, as long as it's implemented properly, because Bombay requires 24/7. At least we require a bloody McDonald's 24/7, if nothing else, or a Starbucks 24/7, which a lot of us travel abroad, and at 2 o'clock you want to eat something. You don't have to go to some underworld, some pub, Burji wala standing under the tree somewhere, who's giving you the container. It actually happens in Juhu. So if you go to Juhu, throughout the night outside Cooper Hospital, there's a guy who sits over there, and you stop your car there, he runs, "Acha, kya chahiye aapko? Pav bhaji chahiye, anda burji chahiye." It's $200 for a plate of anda burji, but at 3 o'clock you get anda burji. Or your second alternative is go to a 5-star hotel in Taj and spend, $2,000 on a meal. So having 24/7 is a good initiative. So we are all against for that. But recently the Bombay government, the same government also said, we're going to have a Mumbai Eye here. Apparently, they get about in Bandra reclamation, which is like the London Eye, a giant Ferris wheel. So I tweeted about it and said that it's a great thing, the Mumbai Eye, because from top of it you will be able to see each and every pothole of Mumbai. So you'll be able to see Mankhurd slums, Dharavi slums, Nehru Nagar slums. So that was again against the government. So we say which we, as I feel. Like I have a solid opinion on CA and NRC. I think it shouldn't be implemented. I'm sure a lot in the room would say, yeah, it has to be implemented. But that's a healthy debate which you have. So the thing is, coming to your question, are we scared of it? Not really. I think it has made our job more. You have to be more smarter to write smarter jokes. Right? Like you can talk about Modi ji for half an hour without saying the word Modi ji. You can talk about Kejriwal for 20 minutes without saying the word Kejriwal. You can talk about Rahul Gandhi without saying this. So how you write it so that they never hold you like,
hold it against you.
Even if you see all of my tweets, I never mention anything. But people know it, So I think you can just say the guy who promised us 15 lakh rupees, and he did this, so people know who it is.
You're talking about, yes.
Sometimes, but there have been issues. It's if you have to understand, most of these comedians who got, I think at least in Bombay, just 1 or 2 have had cases against them. It has always been in the political area. So the biggest thing which happened was the roast which happened, All India Bakchod, the roast which happened at NSCI, which All India Bakchod had done it. Now let me tell you, because I've that time had a lot of, how do you feel about the AIB roast? Is it good for our culture? And people talked about hamara Sanskriti and hamari sanskar and all bullshit. Honestly. But so what happened was that roast was. There was, I think, Ranveer Singh and Arjun Kapoor. So all the jokes had been run through them. Okay, all the jokes which they also said had been written by them. Okay, it was done at NSCI. There were 4,000 people, sold out show. They got a standing ovation. They collected 16 lakh rupees there from the show, which they all gave to the Chennai floods that time. Okay, this show happened in November. In 2013, and the video came out in Jan 2014. They edited it and they put it up on YouTube. So 2014 was a very highly political year. The BJP was trying to get it, and it was a 2014 elections. So what happened? Somebody said something about Farida Jalal, who was a Muslim. So the Muslim, somebody AIM got up, some Samajwadi party got up. Somebody said about the Catholics, some other party got up. It was more about we are the guardian, we are the moral guardians of the society. We have to take a stand. But you don't want to watch on YouTube, shut it off. Who's forcing you? Who's tying your hands and telling you to watch it? So that exactly is the thing. So I think it is. People have become too sensitive. I just tell people to relax. Don't get up every morning and get up and say, "Come on, offend me." Somehow. And that's actually the thing on social media. You write anything. You write it's a beautiful sunny day. There'll be a guy sitting in Marathwada and saying, "Bloody, we've got no rains," and you're talking about suns. You say it's a lovely rainy day. Somebody else will be complaining in Delhi. You say whatever, people get offended. So I think you handle it. And for most comedians, we just take it in one year removed from the other.
Tell us an experience, which you have faced, like after becoming a comedian. Either when you were working, in your office, and did any of your clients say that, okay, अभी हमको एक joke सुना दो. Yeah, if you're in the lift, you're meeting people, or you've gone out, socially, and they'll say, okay, now Atul Khatri is having to come here. Now he has to take the stage, and he has to, tell us some jokes. So how do you react to that?
So I started in comedy in 2012 when I was the CEO of the company. So from 2012 to 2016, I did both my CEO giri as well as stand-up comedy. Because stand-up comedy is usually an evening profession, so you could manage to do it. Then in 2016, I quit my job and I got full-time into comedy. So I'm full-time comedian now. I no longer run the company. I got out of the company. I resigned from the company. Somebody else handling my portfolio now. So I got out of it. And so from 2012 to 2016, I used to perform in comedy clubs. And sometimes my customers used to also inadvertently come and watch me at the comedy club or things like that. So I remember, there's a true story. There's a company in Sion, very big company. They make oils. So it's a long time I wanted to sell computers to them. But somehow the purchase manager was never meeting me, or you know how it is because there's so many vendors calling me. He was avoiding me. But once he came to a comedy club, and I didn't know he was in the show because you 300 people, you don't know who's sitting. The next day he messaged me, okay, hey, I went for a comedy show yesterday. Are you the same Atul Khatri? I said, yeah. He said, come and meet me. Okay, so and when I met him, he said, see, listen, I loved you yesterday. I never knew you were the same guy. How do you do it? So I said, yeah, it's just a thing which I do in the evening. He said, listen, if you could make 300 people laugh, I want to do business with you. So I got business because of my comedy. Yeah. And that was one part of it. But yeah, you get this usual thing. People who don't know how stand-up comedy works, are just chutkule suna do na yaar. Char jan khade, jokes to sunana. It doesn't work like that. Because it's, also let me tell you, most of you who have watched comedy live or this, comedy is the stand-up comedy we do, it's like theatre. So each and every jokes are written, they are paused, the pauses are timed, everything is done, So, but the beauty is when you go up on stage and perform, the biggest compliment you can get, I felt that you came here 1 hour and just spoke out of your head. It didn't seem that it was written before or rehearsed before and things like that. So because usually people think that, I do a lot of corporate shows, so in the morning you reach a corporate show in the morning at 10:30. The event is in the evening. You reach, suppose it's in Delhi, you reach at 10:30, 11. The event organizer along with the client will come and say, see, today, our conferences, the theme is artificial intelligence and knowledge and in 2020. Can you do 30 minutes jokes on that subject? No, I cannot do jokes on artificial intelligence and knowledge in 2020. I'll do Sindhi jokes, Punjabi jokes. I'll do corporate jokes which I've written, but Acha, you can't do jokes. Like if they look like shit, like you're such a failure, loser you are. Like that, no, it doesn't work. These jokes are written before and this and sometimes if you would have told me 2 months advance, maybe you would have written the jokes. I would have gone and tested out somewhere whether it worked or didn't work, and then come and done it. Then maybe it would have worked. And I always tell corporates, most of the internal jokes you guys already know. Like in insurance sector, you know what are the jokes. In finance sector, you know what the jokes which are there. So that's how comedy works.
So you do you do corporate events, various events. So have you ever done weddings, where they've called you to do a stand-up comedy?
Oh yeah, I do wedding. But as long as, so I think stand-up comedy requires a particular thing. It requires a setting. It requires people seated. It requires the bar and food service to be shut. And stage and light and there's just like a theatre performance, and pin drop silence, So I've done, initially when you start doing comedy, you don't know how it is. So I've done a wedding in Delhi for some Sardarjis, which were like, they told me the event will start at 9. I went up on stage at 1:30.
Very, very typical.
I think they called me at 9 o'clock, and I swear on you, I reached at 9 o'clock. And being a professional IT, corporate background, I reached at 8:45. 8:45, they were actually making the stage. Then at 1:30 I started, the bar was on, and generally while I was performing, there were these kids running and playing hide and seek and using me as a pillar. I was substituted in 30 minutes, I did 5 minutes. Because nobody's listening to me. Getting a comedian on a Sangeet night is horrible. Because people are waiting for the dance performances and drinking and things like that, So I've done all kind of those gigs before starting out, and now because that time maybe comedy as an art form was new, so you didn't know what it was. You also didn't know. You required them to be seated.
So tell me something. Atul has in any of the events, anybody has got out of hand, they've had maybe one or two more drinks and then they have really spoken badly to you and they said, "Ki nahi, ye joke acha nahi tha."
No, so, sometimes we get these, they are called hecklers,
Yeah.
who sit in the audience and heckle. So usually drunk hecklers.
Yeah.
You, as a comedian, you are designed or you are equipped to take them down.
Okay.
So if somebody now heckles me,
Yeah.
because I have the mic in my hand,
Right.
I have the power and I have also the experience to take them down
Correct.
nicely or
Right.
harshly, however they talk to you.
Right.
They
Right.
talk harshly to you. Do this. But because comedy is a new art form in India, it's today we get a lot of participating heckling. Especially participating, you do the superb joke. Somebody say from audience. Once I did a show for Bollywood and there was Sanjay Khan sitting in the front row. It's the old actor Sanjay Khan. And after every joke you say, "Wow, kya baat hai," which for comedy is very good. So it's not me thought he's a singing in Mushaira. Kya baat hai, wow, kya, wow, Subhanallah, like that he was saying. But he was so cute that you can't even take that. You don't feel like taking him down. His family, his daughters, or his son-in-law, like, shut up. But he was enjoying. He was seeing comedy for the first time. He met me later. He's saying, "I'm seeing this art form for the first time." You don't know how to pull him down for being so cute. So like that, you get a lot of drunk hecklers. But usually, generally the rule in comedy is that hecklers, nobody likes them.
Okay.
Because the audience has paid money to come and watch me.
Right.
But there's this guy sitting with low self-esteem who wants to sit and now suddenly wants to become the hero of the room. He doesn't have the courage to come up on stage and talk.
Yes.
So he's sitting over there drunk in the dark audience trying to throw in his voices.
Right.
And usually you put them down and audience loves it when you pull you down.
Yeah.
There's also actually there's a term in comedy called breaking the fourth wall. So in comedy, this is a wall, this is a wall, these are three walls. Audience is the fourth one. So you break the fourth one and you talk to them.
Right. Wow, superb. That's great. Atul, tell me something. In abroad there has been comedy, stand-up comedy for the longest time.
80 years.
Yeah. It's just been there and all. So has there ever been an opportunity for you to collaborate, or have you gone and actually worked with them or studied out there, how they do comedy, or is it that if their comedy is very different from us and it will not work here? Or?
Yeah. So I tell you what, when I started doing comedy here, so it was started at this place called the Comedy Store, which is at Palladium, which became the Canvas Club Factory, and as we speak now, that's shut. It's shut since last year because of financial problems. So initially there were no comedians in India. So the Comedy Store is actually a 80-year-old establishment in Piccadilly Circus in London. So they started a branch here, and because there were no comedians here, they used to get comedians from UK to perform. And we used to, as junior comedians, get like 5-minute spots, 3-minute spots in between them.
Right.
Because that's the time we had so much material on it.
Right.
So what happened was, those comedians, first of all, understanding their accent was difficult.
Yeah.
If he's from London, you understand. But if he's from Scotland or Ireland, then anybody, even they don't understand. So first of all, those are the issues. And then the topics what they used to talk. I remember once performing in between those comedians for 3 minutes between them. And there was a Scottish comedian who's been doing like a veteran in that industry, 35 years comedy.
Yeah.
He went and did his 10-minute set was how he went in the shower, okay, and his 6-year-old daughter came inside by mistake.
Oh.
And that entire interaction of how he's butt naked in the shower and his daughter is this, and the audience was over there, some Rotary Club of some Malabar Hill Club, all 60 plus ladies, mainly. And I could see they were squirming in their seats, They don't know what the hell, because they were coming there for the first time, And they were saying, where have we come? What is this guy talking? How the hell he's talking about being naked with his 6-year-old daughter? And there too, it's a very advanced society. Anyway, whatever. And then I came after that and I did my Sindhi, Punjabi jokes, and they were like bugging me. My 3 minutes saved that 3 hours of that night.
Totally.
So the idea is you have to also understand as comedians. Like today, I also sometimes perform I performed in Agra 3 months back. First time in Agra there was a comedy show, stand-up comedy show.
Wow.
English stand-up comedy show. They would have had those bushairas and those hasikavis and all that. First time our genre was happening in Agra for the first time. And 300 people. Now, I also have dark jokes because I've been doing comedy for 7 years. How long can I do my Sindhi jokes, Punjabi jokes? But over there, I would think more advanced jokes about politics, about marriage, or some very deep jokes, dark jokes. But darkly, but more deep, very like storytelling kind of thing, which is really what comedy is.
Right.
And I felt that at that time, if we go there, I don't want to scare them, saying, "Oh, this is comedy." तो फिर हम तो घर पे बैठ के कपिल शर्मा देखेंगे, this is good for us, this is not, this is too much for us.
Right.
And that I always tell younger comedians, when you go to newer cities, when you go to things where you're doing comedy for the first time, second time, it's your responsibility to not scare them away from stand-up comedy, which also happens in, I do a lot of corporate shows, and sometimes what corporates do is that, I have an X price for what I'm worth for that price. Sometimes corporates say, हमारे पास budget नहीं है, we have called this other comedian, he's a junior comedian. As a junior comedian, he has got 15 minutes of material. If there he has to say 10 times the F word, he will say it. Right? Now, if he comes in a corporate and does that set, now what will the director will call the HR guy next day? Hey, dude, what is all this rubbish? Stop comedy. From tomorrow, get a musician or a sand artist or a singer or a magician or a mentalist. Don't get comedy. This is not for us. And that has happened in many corporates because the wrong comedian has gone to the wrong corporate. I've heard stories where a junior comedian has gone and made misogynist jokes on stage, and it was on 8th March, Women's Day. And they were celebrating Women's Empowerment Award in that company. Right. And this guy goes 10 minutes and just goes on and on about his misogynist jokes. And at one time, while he's talking, it's a true story, and he's doing, the mic goes off. Okay. And the mic doesn't go off. The CEO of the company has told him,
put on the mic. Yes.
Get him off the stage.
Yes, yes. I can imagine.
The right fit is very important.
Very, very. So I remember when the conversation that we had when you had come for our show, because ours was, our entire family was there. Vivek's parents were there. My family was there. And of course our friends and everybody else was there also. So I remember the first thing telling Atul was that please, no F word.
Many times you get clients who come in and say what you want. It's a very cool crowd, all my best friends. So what we comedians do is they usually release a test joke.
Right.
And then gauge the audience.
Right.
Because you'll be surprised to know that when you're standing on stage, we are continuously looking at everybody in the audience, seeing how they're reacting. Right. So if the host has told you say what you want, I'm okay, we release a test joke and see the audience response. The audience response is like they're enjoying the joke, then you know that they're willing to take those jokes. Otherwise they start doing, or like you can come to the fact that stop it. Even though he has told you this, you go back to your very simple jokes. That you want to enjoy. You want the crowd to enjoy. You don't want to scare them away, and have a bad night.
Have you ever experienced? I mean, probably I don't know when you started something. It's just. Have you ever experienced that, one of the jokes you did went completely flat? Nobody in the audience understood.
It happens a lot. It happens a lot.
Can you give us an example of this?
So usually what happens is we write jokes. So I'll tell you, all comedians, the best jokes we get at 4 o'clock in the morning when we get up into susu. Those are the best thoughts you get. So my God, what a joke. So, and that's the truth. A lot of comedians worldwide also, they keep a diary near their phone, near their bedside to quickly jot down the writes. And once I was actually coming in Johnny Liver's car. Actually, Johnny Liver's car, I was performing with his daughter Jamie. So we were coming in this car, and his backseat of the car, this was like 4 years back. There were all chits of paper everywhere in the pockets and things like that. So I said, no, easy, no, Dad. Whenever he thinks of an idea, he writes jokes and puts it over there. Later on, he'll remove the chit and then see what did I written. So we get the best thoughts at 4 o'clock. And when we wake up in the morning at 8, they say, oh, those thoughts are horrible. The typical thing. So once I got this good thought at 4 o'clock, I got up at 8 o'clock and the thought was still very nice. Then I wrote a set. I said, amazing. I ran it through my daughter. She's saying, yeah, Papa, it's very good. So I called up a comedy club. He's saying, no, I want to try the jokes. Because I've written it's funny in my head. My daughter's in, but to 200 people, does it sound funny or no? And I went over there and I bombed like a rock. Nobody laughed. So it works. It's like that. I've done shows where I've done 3 shows in a night at the Comedy Store. You do Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And Thursday the jokes works, Friday the jokes work, Saturday they fall in flat. Because
the same jokes.
The same joke, the same delivery. Because what happens, you have to understand that's the beauty of comedy. Because, like today, a lot of you people, it's a Monday. I'm sure you would have, most of you have woken up at 5:36, gone for your exercise, maybe, gone to work, traveled somewhere. I had a very hard day. Only 2-3 of you all are sleeping, I could see you. So what happens is that making them laugh suddenly, it's very different what day they've had. Sometimes we do offsites, corporate offsites, where morning to evening the MD has badgered them. Then at 6:30 they get a comedian. Abhi now haso tum log. How can you make those zombies laugh? All of them were thinking of the targets or the MDS told them. There was a thought in the head. Yeah, half of them don't want to listen to it.
Okay. So tell me, Atul, you have two daughters. Any of them have been inspired by you, and even do they want to take up your second profession, your alternate
It
profession?
inspired me for the fact that because at 43, 44, I took to another thing. You suddenly leave all your ecosystem which you had, which you created for 25 years. Now I've got into a very different ecosystem when I'm talking to younger comedians, to comedy clubs, event organizers, and things like that. And believe me, it's as hard work. Or actually, I think I'm working more harder than which I was running a company. You have an entire team. You're just sitting reading reports and once or twice, talking to the team. But now it's like I'm the brand, I'm everything. So I think it's more pressure on me. So I'm working more harder. So I think they're very inspired by the fact that um, how I'm working more harder now. And so I think that is really the inspiration. I don't think really it's inspired them to do comedy. Because for that you have to have. I think my elder daughter has got a little bit like me, like she's got this. She runs some stupid jokes to me sometimes. Papa, how is this? Is it funny? I said nothing. Nothing funny. Go back to your books. So yeah, it's that, yeah. So I don't think they will any. But I in fact whenever I go to any open mics, I always encourage a lot of women to get into comedy because uh, we want to hear more female voices also. Your female stories and voices. The issues which are there. And now actually there's a new crop of women comedians coming. Yeah.
So tell me, where do you get the funny bone from? From your dad, your mom, or from some uncle, aunt? Who is it? Which part of the genes?
I think my dad is pretty funny compared to my mom. At least he's funny, and he's. I think it's something which is you since childhood I was like always like the funny part, the funny stories, and that used to always excite me. So I think it's more overthink. But see, there are two parts of stand-up comedy. One is the writing part, where you write jokes. Second is the performance part, where you have to. Some people have an idea, some people have a knack that they write very strong jokes on paper, but the performance may not be very strong. Or there are some jokes that jokes are very weak, but they make up with their theatre performance on stage. So I think it's a combination of both, and I think it's honestly I get a lot of young kids who tell me, "Sir, give us advice on comedy." I said, "Yeah, मेरे को खुद 7-8 साल हो गए. I am learning myself. What will I teach you? It's a new art form. Let me learn. We're all learning together. So it's like that. You're continuously learning. You're continuously evolving in this way."
So who do you follow? Who is your favorite stand-up comedian?
As such, there are a lot of comedians in India, and I follow Veer Das. I may not like his comedy very much, but Veer is one of the hardest working comedians. Being up there, he's a Bollywood actor. He's got some podcasts running. He's got some Netflix show. He's touring the world, so he's very very hardworking. A lot of comedians. I honestly tell you, genuinely, it's not a safe answer, but I know how difficult the profession is. Going up on stage, making people laugh is so bloody difficult. Making them cry is very easy. But making people laugh from 0 to 10 is very difficult. So anybody who can manage to do that, I think deserves all the respect, because I know how difficult the profession is, how difficult it is writing jokes. Just to let you know, comedians usually if you get 5 minutes of fresh jokes every month, that's a very good achievement. 5 minutes, and that is international, because if you follow comedy, most of these, even the big comedians abroad like Dave Chappelle and Russell Peters, like Russell Peters has his new special which came out, which was incidentally shot in NSA. It's now come out on Amazon Prime just 2 days back. He's been touring the show for 1 year or more than a year, which is 60 minutes of material, which you break it down to 12 minutes is 5 minutes of material every month, because you'll write jokes, sometimes you write topical jokes, the topic only changes. So then you kill the joke, write another joke, then you see that, you keep on sort of honing the joke, you keep on chiseling it till it becomes watertight, and then you come up with the 60 minutes of material and you go to perform.
So I incidentally teach also at St. Paul's Institute, and a lot of my students were going to come today, but they have a lot of submissions. So they said, "Ma'am, can you ask this question to Atul Khatri on our behalf?" Please. So this is what they asked: if they want to become a stand-up comedian, is it financially okay? A and B, what is it that takes to be a good stand-up, quality stand-up comedian?
First of all, is there money in comedy? Yes, there is money in comedy. So, how do we make money? We make money from corporate shows, private shows, public ticketed shows, where we sell tickets and make money. A lot of comedians, we are typically writers.
Right.
So, we get a lot of writing opportunities. Okay, so for example, uh, uh, this year IFA Awards
Right.
were written by comedians, some colleagues of mine. I wrote IFA Awards 3 years back. So you work with Shah Rukh Khan, you work with, because see Shah Rukh Khan going on stage and doing 3 hours of hosting where there's so many jokes. He doesn't have the time to sit and write jokes. So there are jokes which we sit with him, we jam with him with the teleprompter which he reads through. He and I think that year there was I think Arjun Kapoor or somebody co-hosting with him. So like these, we get such options like opportunities. A lot of comedians have their own web series where they have come out with like Zakir is a friend of mine. He's got a show called I think I forget the name of the show. I think Gyari Kaksha or something. Something he had a show. Mere Papa Vidayak or something like that. Mere Chacha Vidayak. Then Biswa Kalyan Rath had a show called Lakho Mein Ek. So where they're writing web series. They're developing the web series. So like that you get a lot of such opportunities. I do a lot of brand work. So a lot of brands come to us like they come up to us as a problem like. I've done work for HDFC Bank, I've done work for Cadbury's on social media. So we also do a lot of social media influencing because all of us are so full on social media on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook. So brands come to us, get plug our thing in a funny way. I've done a lot of work for Godrej and for Godrej Security, for Godrej Properties. So you do a lot of brand work there because what is happening, you'll realize if you all have children have stopped reading newspapers, children have stopped watching television. In fact, some of us also have stopped reading television and all. So, source of information is only all this, either through social media. So, kids are consuming social media.
Google Dada.
Instagram, whatever you call it. You know? So, that's the way you to reach out to them, and so we use this social media influencing for this kind of thing. So that's one question. Second question, what are required to get into comedy?
So quality,
comedy. First of all, you have to write original. So one thing in comedy, we don't copy jokes. It's a big thing if we steal jokes from any other comedian. So for example, even there's a comedian sitting in Russia or America, okay, I like the idea, I change it to Indian context and chip cow it over here. If I'm caught stealing jokes, I'm thrown out of the industry. I will stop getting work. No comedian will talk to me. We take plagiarism so seriously. We don't take jokes from WhatsApp. We don't take from internet because you know what happens if you meet people in a party, especially the old uncles. अच्छा बेटा तुम comedian हो? अच्छा हाँ. आपका number दो मैं कल से आपको jokes भेजूँगा. Use it on stage. मैं tell you uncle, I don't use those jokes. मत भेजो please. I'm sure a lot of you had thoughts in the idea. So we don't do that. So we don't take jokes.
So you can actually read people's minds.
So write original jokes, number one. Only way to get into comedy is such a simple system. Go on stage and try to make people laugh. So there are open mics which happen. There are a lot of places where things happen. Like my first open mic actually was in this lane. There was this place called I forget the name. There was an old club where they changed. I forget the name. No, I forget the name. Ibar. It was on this lane only. I think the name has changed. It was called Ibar. My first open mics I did here 7 years back. The same lane.
Okay.
So only way to do this comedy is to go to an open mic, try a thing. The audience decide whether it's funny or no. I cannot judge because I get sometimes these young comedians, sir, I've done this show. I'm sending you this YouTube video. Tell me how it is. I said, I will not tell you. The audience will tell you. If the audience laugh, as long as they're original jokes, well done. And I tell comedians younger comedians, the biggest problem with a lot of junior comedians is they stop going for comedy shows. They watch a lot of content online. So they'll watch some Bill Burr in the US, some Dave Chappelle, who's sitting and doing comedy in a environment which is 80 years old. He said, come and watch what is happening here. So basic things, write original jokes, hit as much stage time as you get, and watch live comedy. Very basic. Just tell all your students to do that.
Thank you so much. Another question is that Atul, you also have done modeling for advertisements, right?
Yeah.
So do you get through that, and how has it been?
So actually, I was never, but because of some people noticed me on stage, so a lot of these casting directors they now they scout for new talent. So I've done close to around 15, 13, 14 commercials I've done, including some big ones also on TV as well as on digital.
Correct.
So it was difficult because I'm not an actor.
Right.
And I remember the first audition I went, I was doing the acting and the guy said, "Sir, आप acting मत करो, you know, आप और acting कर रहे हो." I told him, मुझे तो acting आती नहीं तो मैं और कैसे करूँ? नहीं साहब, और be natural, sir. I said, "Yeah, this is."
Right.
But that's a very difficult and different line.
Yeah. Okay.
Because, but yes, I've done some few commercials, and I enjoyed that process.
Super.
Yeah, and I've done with some big stars. I've done with Manoj Bajpayee. I've done with Ranbir Kapoor. Some commercials, and that has been good. But that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A 1 day shoot, 2 day shoot is good fun. Not too much money, but good fun.
What is this thing I've seen in one of your tweets? Whether you're alone or whether you're with anybody, if you go out to have a meal, you'll always order a soup. It'll be 1 by 2, even if you're alone.
Yeah.
So what is that?
So this is like a true story. When I was young, we have kids. My dad had a close group of friends, and every once a month we used to go to NSCI club because my aunt was a member there. So all kids, like 13, 14 of us, used to go there, and we were like, we were like probably in 10th standard or 9th standard, 8th standard, I remember, and the waiter used to come and go, "What soup will you have?" I said, "Sweet corn, chicken, anchovies, somebody said hot stuff." Then the waiter would take the order, go to that aunt, the wicked aunt, Sindhi aunt, you know. And she said, "अच्छा बच्चों ने क्या order किया?" अच्छा एक काम करो, सब cancel करो, make one sweet corn chicken 3 by 30.
3 by 30.
And used to get like this much soup, you know. So this entire thing is 1 by 2 concept. Means my Twitter handle, my Instagram is 1 by 2. 1 by 2 is a very Indian concept, you know.
Yes.
It doesn't it happens, but it's like I know I'll be in my I go to Juhu club, and there are guys who do 1 by 2 of idli. And you say idli comes in pairs. What can you do 1 by 2? What they do is they do 1 by 2 idli. They'll say, "हम आज एक idli खाएगा, next idli हम कल खाएगा." Because the other guys who come regularly to the gym, they feel 1 idli is too much, 2 idlis is too much. They need 1 idli, so they do 1 by 2 of idli also. You know? So this concept is like crazy. People have taken it to a next level. You go to the best restaurant, you go to bloody Hakkasan here, they'll say, you order 2 people soup, so you want 1 by 2. So this 1 by 2 concept is a very, very Indian concept, and I just love this thing, how we sort of maximize this, you know.
Right.
You pay for 1 and you get like 1.2. Like,
So tell me your journey as an entrepreneur. You were CEO, that was a great position, and now your journey as a comedian.
Yeah.
Which is the one which you have enjoyed the most, and why?
Actually, I enjoyed that part. It's not that I hated that, but I think most of you, I think, are on the program.
Yes, all of them.
All of them. Okay. Running a very small, medium business company in India is terrifying. Like I used to wake up every morning and wonder, like, because I used to run an IT company. I have engineers. I've had cases where engineers told me at Friday night, "Okay, sir, see you on Monday." And Monday he calls me from New Jersey. Yes, sir, I got a job, and Saturday I went to New Jersey. And he's calling me and saying, not for anything, just, "Sir, when will you clear my dues?" So can you imagine? So I've been through that. So running most of and you're just running for. I have, in fact, the new set I'm writing about this thing only. How how running a small business in India is so very difficult. You're just working for everybody else. You're working for employees, you're working for your clients, you're working for GST, for government, for your CS. You're working for all of them, And but that was good. It was a profitable business. It was good. But obviously, this is much, much, much better. I remember for 25 years, I used to wake up at 7:30, read newspaper at 8:30, leave home at 9:30. The only best decision in the morning is which road to take to reach office, just to change your own scenery. See, in the morning, my office is Andheri. I used to try to take the Andheri bridge to Irla bridge. For 20 years, just thinking about that, which has less potholes or which will have, that you think that. But now it's amazing. Like I wake up at 10:30, read newspaper at 11:30. The other day, actually, true story. My dad is. I live with my dad. I'm with my parents. So on 12:30, 1:30 on a Monday afternoon, my dad was watching an English movie. And even I started watching a movie with him. I could have never done that in last study. Watching an English movie on a Monday afternoon with my dad. And actually, when I was watching the movie, an adult scene came. And my dad immediately changed the channel. I said, come on, you're 81, I'm 51. This is the only sex we get.
Okay, Atul, last question for you for today. Is it at 43 you aspired to be a stand-up comedian and you became one, and congratulations, you're doing very well for yourself. So what is it going to be at 53? I'd really like to know.
I get this question a lot, now what next?
Next year.
I said, I don't know. At 43, I didn't know I would become a comedian and, performing internationally everywhere and things like that, I don't know where it is. I keep my options absolutely open. Like when I get sometimes called for some Bollywood auditions, if I'm free, I go for it. Yeah. And I don't know. Tomorrow it may take me somewhere else, take me somewhere else. I don't know. I think it's always, sometimes we ourselves think a lot about what should you do, what will people say, what will this do. I think stop doing all that. Think for yourself. One life only. I don't believe in 9 lives or 7 lives or things like that. One life is here and here only, nothing else. Your accounts will be settled on last day. So just maximize whatever time you can. And I'm a big. One thing before we all go into this, the last question. In comedy, timing is very important. When I say timing, not about the comedic timing.
No.
So what happens when you go to a comedy club? There are 3 artists internationally. You're supposed to do, like even at the Comedy Store, which was run by the Brits. So I'm supposed to do 20 minutes. Okay. Other comedians do 20 minutes. So it's a 1 hour show, 20 minutes. If I go 21 minutes also,
the whole...
No. And I've killed the room. And I would go there, and the Brit guy would say, you're out. I said, but listen, you did 1 minute extra. I said, yeah, 1 minute, because they were clapping so much. He said, nothing doing. 20 minutes is 20 minutes. So most comedy clubs, they have a red light on top, which the audience doesn't see, which we on stage can see. It's a red light pointed towards. So when you go on stage, you have to tell the console that, hey, I'm doing 20 minutes. How much time I have to do? 20 minutes. He'll ask you what time you need the light at. So you say, I need the light at 18 minutes. So in 18 minutes, the red light will flash, which only I can see, the audience cannot see. Which means I have 2 minutes to wrap up my set, do what you want, and get out of 20. And that's how important. And I think all of us, especially in Bombay or anywhere in India, time is the currency today. There's nothing else. And when I was in my IT job, we did the Six Sigma project. People remember Six Sigma, Motorola. It's a failed project now. I believe nobody uses it right now. But at one time, Wipro we used to work with Wipro, and we were the suppliers, we were the dealers. So then we were involved in the Six Sigma projects. And there was a thing where Mr. Azim Premji had taken a project himself, where he will reply to mails within 7 minutes. Every mail you send to Mr. Premji, he would reply within 7 minutes, sometimes 2 minutes also, but nothing. So what he will do is that I think it's 3.4 million defects and 3.4 defects in every 1 million operations you do. That's why you're allowed. That's why you touch Six Sigma. So Mr. Premji, so I've learned a lot of time. I think is very, very important. That is really helpful. So that's why most times whenever I'm usually on time, because time is really very important. You work backwards. And I hate people who are late for appointments, who are, don't consider time. You take it very loosely. And that has really taught me a lot in comedy, because when you perform abroad also, I perform in comedy clubs across the world. And when you follow it, so Indians over there are notorious for going over time. And so first time you go there and say, hey man, be on time. And I said, don't worry, I'll be like 1 minute before, but I'll not go 1 minute above. That's how serious they take time in comedy. Because it's not about you, it's about the show, it's about the night. Today if I speak for 2 hours, you have dinner plans, you have to go home. Somebody's I have to just go to Borivali, you're already looking at the Google Maps, bus kar tum log jaye yahan se, so it's all that kind of thing. So I think the time is of essence. Let's stop it.
Thank you so much, Atul Khatri. Wow.